Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the President and CEO of the Ayn Rand Institute, Tal Tsfany.
Good morning. Everybody's had a good morning, good breakfast, energized? Okay, so, I take this State of ARI presentation very seriously every year. I take it seriously because I think of all of you as stakeholders, as my board of directors that I need to report to every year on progress. So this year I thought, we're going to be in Boston. What should I name the theme of this presentation? And then it came to me. We're going to call it Big Swings. Yeah, we're going to talk about taking big swings. So, what does it mean to take big swings? Sometimes you take a swing and you whiff, right? And you lose your footing and you stumble and you might even fall. But you try again and you try again. And from time to time you hit a home run. 40 years ago, two people took a big swing. And the reason why we're all here is because of them. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the year where we're celebrating 40 years for the Ayn Rand Institute. So, 40 years is a good time after you've climbed for 40 years, a big mountain, and you don't see the end of it yet. It's a good time to, stop, turn around, reflect, where are we? Are we doing well? Are we meeting our purpose? What is the standard of achievement? Are we progressing in what was set for us as, from the founding fathers of the Institute? Are we meeting our goals? So I want to talk about three aspects of where we are today that I think are very unique, that say a lot about the nature of the organization, the nature of our mission, and how deep it is. And to share with you what a day in the life of someone like me is, of thinking about, are we doing the right thing almost on a daily basis. So the first thing I want to share with you that is very unique about the type of work that we do is that you have to have clarity of purpose. And in order to demonstrate that and how deep that is and how long of a time it took me to understand the purpose of this organization and how to serve it, I want to take you back to a scene in Atlas Shrugged. Do you remember where Dagny was looking for the inventor of the motor, finds a lead about this guy named Hugh Axton who's working in the diner? Remember that scene? Okay, for all of you who didn't read Atlas Shrugged, I'm going to destroy this, okay? Okay, so let's see what happened. I'm going to take you back to that scene. So the diner stood on the summit of a long, hard climb. Its glass walls spread a coat of polish over the view of rocks and pines descending in broken ledges to the sunset. Dagny sat at the end of the counter, eating a hamburger sandwich. It was the best cooked food she had ever tasted, the product of simple ingredients and of an unusual skill. She studied the man behind the counter. He was slender and tall. He had an air of distinction that belonged in an ancient castle or in an inner office of a bank. Then she starts talking to him. What's your name? Hugh Axton. The philosopher? The last of the advocates of reason? Why, yes, he answered pleasantly, or the first of their return. But what are you doing here? Her arms swept at the room. This doesn't make any sense. Are you sure? What is this? A stunt? An experiment? A secret mission? Are you studying something for some special purpose? Now, it's clear, if we pause here, that Dagny doesn't get something. Axton gets it, Galt gets it, Francisco gets it, Ragnar gets it, but she doesn't get it. What doesn't she get? What is her error? Why isn't she joining the strike? I'm not going to pose that question because I think it's a very serious question, not a simple one to ask. It's the question that I didn't get. In my first days at ARI, I did not get what Dagny didn't get as well. And it took me time to understand what Galt means when he says, no, there's something different that is going on. So let's go to what Ayn Rand wrote about the psychology of Dagny as she was preparing to write Atlas Shrugged. This is from her journals, and I'm going to read it to you. Her error and the cause of her refusal to join the strike is over-optimism and overconfidence. Over-optimism in that she thinks men are better than they are, she doesn't really understand them, and is generous about it. Now, I think Ayn Rand is generous about how she says that. What she basically means is that Dagny doesn't understand the relationship between man and ideas. She's projecting something from another realm into the realm of ideas, and she doesn't get it. And the second thing is overconfidence in that she thinks she can do more than an individual actually can. Now let's break it down a little bit more. She writes more about it. She says she thinks she can run a railroad or the world single-handed. She can make people do what she wants or needs, what is right, by the sheer force of her own talent. She will show them how. She can teach them and persuade them. She's so able that they'll catch it from her. The mistake, reason is not automatic. Those who deny it cannot be conquered by it. Do not count on them, leave them alone. What is your experience trying to explain objectivism to other people? They get it, right? Oh my God, I'm so happy you showed up. I didn't get it. Reason, come on, of course. I'm not going to be a Christian anymore. You know, it's obvious. So what's really going on? She's projecting her own psychology, her own epistemology, if you will, her own rationality on other people. She thinks she can project what's working for her in business. Like, I'm going to explain to them, okay, this is how you do it. This is, you know, that's the right way to do it. That's the wrong way to do it. Do it. And they do it. But when you go to lunch with them and you say, what is good? Socialism, capitalism, why? They blank out. I don't know what your experience. I tried with the best minds in the Silicon Valley over and over and over again. They don't get it. Right? So something else is going on, something that Galt understands, and he's doing something completely different in order to change the culture, not going to those people and trying to convince them, which is what I'm sure all of us try to do. Which explains why we as an organization don't do what a lot of you, sometimes when I talk to you, expects us to do, which is like billboards and shout out and get millions of views and do what the other people are doing. It's like get million views and another YouTube short and everybody will get it. They don't get it. So how do we do it? Now one guy got it, kind of a real-life Ragnar, if you will, Dr. Leonard Peikoff. Yes, he deserves it. When Dr. Peikoff sat down to write the charter of the Ayn Rand Institute just before it started, he wrote, I think, one of the most precise documents that I've ever read as far as laying out a strategy for an organization. It's unbelievable. I go back to that document on a monthly basis, just like, let's read it again. Because he sat down and wrote it word for word. I think like a Jefferson writing the Declaration, he thought about every word. The precision is unbelievable. So he wrote a charter, and for the first time I want to expose some of that charter with you. It's not a public document. It serves the board, it serves ARI. So I want to read to you some of parts of it. It starts with a preamble, and I'll read it to you. It's a quote from the New Intellectual, and it states, "The present state of the world is not the proof of philosophy's impotence, but the proof of philosophy's power. It is philosophy that has brought men to this state. It is only philosophy that can lead them out." What are we saying here? It's only philosophy that is the key to solve all of our problems. It's not politics, it's not media, it's not even education. There's something deeper than that. It's philosophy. And then he makes a statement. The founders of this institute hold that historical trends are caused at root by philosophical ideas. So what is this organization going to be about? It's going to be about philosophy. The goal of the Institute is to promote and spread the objectivist philosophy by means of educational activities. Why? Because education is a center of gravity for a culture that propagates to the other things like business and academia and then to the political system and everywhere else. So we are an educational organization. We are a school of philosophy first and foremost. And then he makes sure that we all get it. What philosophy, guys? The objectivist philosophy is the philosophy of Ayn Rand as is presented in full in her works. Please don't add to it. Please don't make it your own. Please don't call it open objectivism. Don't bastardize it. Don't trivialize it. Don't conventionalize it. Don't popularize it, please. If you want to add to it, great. Call it whatever you want. You guys who are going to manage the Ayn Rand Institute in the future, please do one thing. Promote her philosophy. She called it objectivism. That's what you need to do. And that's very important. We don't fake, and we're honest and forthcoming about the ideas that we're promoting. We're doing our best. We're not geniuses at Ayn Rand. We're doing our best to promote the philosophy as we understand it. This is why it's so critical to have the best minds at the center of the gravity teaching at the highest level. So when I talk about clarity of purpose, I want to break it down some more. Like Galt, we understand that the challenge we're facing with is philosophical at the core of it, right? It's not popular media who's going to shout, is it Trump or is it whoever's on the other side right now? No, we're thinking long-term, we're thinking in fundamentals, we're thinking in principles. So the challenge is philosophical. The audience, we're very selective. We're not going for everyone. We're going for you. The people who read Atlas Shrugged and The Fountainhead and got it. I said I have a lot of hypotheses of what differentiates this audience. I mean, millions and millions of people read Atlas Shrugged. Where are they? They think it's a great story about railroads, right? But you are a different kind. We're going after you. We're going after the intellectual, after the principled, after the people who really are intolerant of contradictions. That's the way I think about our audience. It's not easy to find the one in the many, but that's who we're going after. The clarity of time frame. Everybody says, what's going on? Everybody asks here on, when are we going to change the world, right? It's going to take time. You heard conversations and lectures about the project called the Enlightenment. It took time. It builds one generation over another. But all we can do is to live in it today, to do everything we can do to promote the right ideas and be there for the people who want to get attracted to us and build on it and get bigger and more kind of a critical mass of thinkers who then propagate the ideas. And one day, it was like, yeah, things are changing. By the way, I always ask, what do you mean, when do we get it? Get what? Do you think there's an end point? No. We're always at work. So that's the time frame. The approach is uncompromising. We don't cooperate, we don't dilute, we don't compromise. I get people reaching out to me, it's like, yeah, maybe we can cooperate together, we're libertarians and we love objectivism a little bit, you guys come and, work with us. No. We are uncompromising. It's always, I think, like, can you put a little Peter Keating in my Howard Rourke drink? No. I don't I don't deal with that. So sometimes people's like, we're snobs. No, we're not snobs. We're just uncompromising. We're like scientists. Do you want to corrupt my equations? No. So that's our approach. And I want to say something very optimistic. It's very clear to me that we're going to win. Why? Because we have truth. It's going to take time for this, more people in society to connect the dots and to see, this didn't work and that didn't work and we tried that and it didn't work. Who else is out there? And we're going to be there, hopefully forever, as an alternative. So the second thing I want to share with you that is very, very unique about ARI and the way we approach our mission is unity of thought and action, which I'm very, very proud of. In order to kind of illuminate what that means, I want to take you back to post-Atlas Shrugged release from 1957 to 61, where for the New Intellectual comes out. And what happened then, if you know a little bit about Ayn Rand's history, she's very disappointed and disillusioned about the response that she's getting from the culture about Atlas Shrugged. She expected, I just wrote John Galt's speech. Where are all the people that are going to say either yes or no? The intellectual discourse of like, you know, let's engage. I just gave you an amazing treatise of a completely new philosophy. Where is it? Silence. Let's hear something that I don't think we played before, which is her responding or thinking about the response to Atlas Shrugged after it came out.
I was enormously shocked by the state of the culture and by the attacks on Atlas, not by the attacks themselves, but by the fact that there was nobody to oppose them. I had expected more intelligent smears, but what shocked me was the abysmal, stupid hooliganism of the reviews, that they were self-contradictory even within their own terms, total distortions, and that there was nobody objecting to it. That the whole state of the culture suddenly appeared much worse than I had imagined, because through all the years of Atlas, I was really out of touch with the culture. So my first question was what the culture really needs, or to whom are we addressing ourselves?
So that question of like, what does the culture really need now? And who am I as Ayn Rand addressing? So the first project she's taking, which was the first thing she writes in nonfiction, is this book called For the New Intellectual. And this is a fascinating book. And you should hear Ben talk about this book and kind of go deep into that leading essay. And it's a really good question to ask, why is she focusing on one aspect, which is, I want to make a call to action to someone in the culture, this new intellectual. Who is that person? I'm talking to you. Atlas is for you. Read it. I want you to engage with it. So let me summarize the kind of key points of what she's saying here. She's saying our society is intellectually bankrupt. The intellectuals have failed to understand the nature and the virtue of the producer, which is a new phenomenon. It's a post-industrial revolution phenomenon. This businessman, this creator of wealth, and the intellectuals turn against him, and then the producer turns against the intellectual. They're like the pragmatist versus the detached intellectual, right? The ivory tower versus the pragmatist. No, you are two sons of the same phenomenon called the Industrial Revolution, and instead of cooperating, you're fighting each other. And the only way out, that's an amazing insight. She said the only way to move forward is not the intellectuals just getting better, not just the businessmen creating more wealth, is working together. And it's such a prophetic idea, because you can see what happens next, right? So you should be working together. The businessmen, you need each other. You need each other. It's a kind of a division of labor that is deeply required. There's a division of labor between them to change the trajectory of the society. Why? Why can't just the intellectuals change society? Why can't the Elon Musks just change society? Why do they need to come together? And I think, just to understand how prophetic that is, I want to share with you something very special. It's the first thing she's focusing on. She goes on a campaign for the new intellectual. And we just found, thanks to the amazing archives team that we have, uncovered another Mike Wallace interview. Yes? Never played before, never heard before. Where's Shoshana? Is she here? Yeah, she's back there. Even Shoshana didn't hear it. You get to hear this thing first time ever with Shoshana. And she, in 1961, a week before For the New Intellectual is published, she's going to interview with Mike Wallace. They start talking. After 8 minutes, she says, stop. It's not going where I want it to go. And they stop the recording. She comes back the next day, and they record a full interview that we're going to share with you in the near future. So let's hear her talk about that. So we call it the third Rand Wallace interview. that we found, by the way, in the Syracuse University archives. But just no, it's amazing what the archives team is doing. They're going through Ayn Rand's calendar, checking every appointment she had, and they find new things that we never knew she did, and then like detectives going and hunting for those things. So I'll share with you later how many things we're just finding, about more than 60 radio shows that were never uncovered before.
You propose an alliance between the businessman and the intellectual. What kind of an alliance would that be?
Well, in effect, I would advocate an exchange of students between the two classes of businessmen and intellectuals who know less about each other than about any foreign country. I mean, of course, a voluntary and private exchange. I believe that the businessman today should discover the intellect, and the intellectual should discover reality. And the result of such an alliance would be what we desperately need today, a philosophical businessman and a thinker who is a man of action.
That's beautiful, a philosophical businessman. And a thinker who is a man of action. Now, I have to divert because then there's another part. When I heard it for the first time, I was like, I have to play it. I don't know how, it doesn't fit in this presentation. Pause, I'm gonna play it for you just because it's so delightful. She's quoting from a poem, just pay attention.
Ayn, tell me this. I think that you will agree that from time to time you yourself are attacked. People suggest that your philosophy is outlandish.
Oh, yes.
What is your reaction to all of that?
Well, I must tell you that at the start of my career, I knew what will be the position of an innovator in a culture which is predominantly irrational and becoming more so. So to answer you, I will quote a famous poem. It's a poem called If by Kipling. And if you remember, it states the conditions or the premises or character traits that a man should have if he wants to be a man in the full and best sense of that word. And the line which is appropriate here as my answer is as follows. If you can bear to hear the truth you've spoken, twisted by knaves to make a trap for fools. Close quote. Well, I can bear it because I'm not seeking to address fools.
She's not seeking to address fools. So I did this whole detour just to make a point that Ayn Rand, in a way, has identified a very deep insight that a unity is needed. So I want to jump from 1961 to 83. Think about where the Objectivist movement was there. Ayn Rand died in 82, and our intellectuals were doing what intellectuals do. Leonard was teaching, Harry was teaching, there was like a host of organizations of Harry's Objectivist Forum, Leonard was selling his cassettes, Peter was publishing The Intellectual Activist, the Jefferson School by the Riesmans were doing those 2-week conferences, and the second Renaissance books were selling Objectivist books. They were doing what is expected of them. They were intellectuals. And just right coming out of the For the New Intellectual, magically, this guy appears. This is Ed Snyder. He's the owner of the Comcast Spectator that owns the Philadelphia Flyers. After reading Atlas Shrugged, he meets with Ayn Rand. Jay, his son, and I talked about this. He was there with him. It's like, I thought my dad was the tallest, most forceful person in the world. And then I saw him like a kid in front of Ayn Rand. It was unbelievable. And he loved Ayn Rand. And in 1983, he talks to Leonard and the other objectivists and say, guys, what's going on? And they said, what do you mean? What's going on? What is going on? What are we doing? They're like, we're doing what we're doing. So a businessman brings what a businessman, or does what a businessman does. He has a vision to build, to create, to scale up, to make an impact, to and they get together. He had to drag everybody to a hotel room during November 1983. There was about 13 people in the room. And he's saying to all of them, he opened the meeting and said, we need to centralize objectivist activities so that they can have greater impact. And then he turned the floor to Leonard, who said a couple of words, and he said, it's kind of amazing to me that he refers to the marriage of the intellectual and the businessman, to intellectual discovery, reality, and so on. He says, guys, we need to cooperate to do something bigger. He's faced with a lot of resistance, skepticism. It's like, what are you talking about? We don't need this. No, forget about it. Who knows what this organization is going to be? Who's going to run it? No, forget about it. We're not going to do it. But he pushes and pushes and pushes. And so eventually, he puts his money where his mouth is. He's pushing hard, and those two founders of the Institute get to work. Now, it's very typical, that the producer of wealth and the purveyor of knowledge, the Ragnar and the Reardon get together, and when they get together, amazing things happen. So, just to explain the skepticism, let's hear how Leonard is announcing the establishment of the Institute.
We are in process. Now, this is a very tentative, I have to qualify this to death. This is very tentative and very hypothetical. It is not definite. I don't know that it will materialize. If you know the epistemological distinctions, I would say this is possible but not probable. However, with all that being said, we are in process of exploring the possibility.
Exploring.
Of founding something that we are calling the Ayn Rand Institute, and subtitled the Center for the Advancement of Objectivism.
So that's the earth-shattering announcement. I'm sure if we had Ed on stage, it would sound very different. But seriously, they got to work, and they did what both of them had to do. One, established a whole framework, brought a fundraising team, the legal structure, everything that we needed, and Leonard sat down to write a charter, and they worked together on a board for many, many years to make sure that we are who we are. And I'm very proud to say that I think ARI is a merger of those two, where we have the leading intellectuals, and I would like to thank some leading professionals to do amazing things to really make us unstoppable. So with so much confidence, this guy took a leave of absence to run the Institute for a while, because who knows it's going to survive. But I have to say that him and the team he chose that were so committed really built a foundation and made sure that organization found its way and survived for us to keep on building it for years to come. And I'm so proud that today we are growing as a collection and a partnership between the leading intellectuals and professionals who come together to build something amazing. So thank you for all of the ARI employees here in the audience. Now, I want to pause for a second and just imagine for a second that Ed failed, right? He didn't convince Leonard and Harry and Peter and all the others to go for it, right? What would have happened? What if ARI wouldn't be here? We wouldn't have an ARI. So here's, I think, what would have happened. I think Atlas Shrugged would still be on shelves, but it would be kind of fading out from the discussions, from the culture. Less and less people reading it. And with less readers, less word-of-mouth recommendations, less people ignited by it, less people figuring out, wow, there's a whole philosophy here to master. Any student who's ignited by the ideas and reading the nonfiction, where would they go? Who would they follow? Who's going to mentor them, show them the path of a career that can be evolved into an intellectual career centered around objectivism? There would be all kinds of disjoint activities, and not at the scale of what ARI offers, not with the staying power of an organization that is dedicated to do this thing. And honestly, the most amazing group of supporters that any organization can have around them. So another thing I would think would have happened is that objectivism would be distorted, diluted, dismissed. Nobody would defend its integrity. When there are like strawman attacks on Ayn Rand, nobody would expose them. There would be organizations saying, it's all about getting along with everyone. Let's be Christian friendly and say that her atheism is overstated, you know, and let's cooperate with everyone. Maybe speak in Russian accent and wear like a big, you know, dollar sign and fake it, you know. It would not be serious. It would not be what we need, which is an organization that is uncompromising in projecting what Ayn Rand really stood for. Third point is, I think more than ever today, as we're growing and we're getting more support than ever, and I'm happy to tell you that I'm having conversations with people at a level that I've never had before. I'll talk later about a new initiative that we are initiating where we had several billionaires in one room talking about the future of society, bringing together our intellectuals and their amazing capabilities as businessmen to talk about things, and it was fireworks. That day, I raised more money than I raised in 2 years, just in one day. So with that, what we can do is go for big swings. So big swings of what? Big swings, and the way I like to think about it, is going after audacious milestones in bringing Ayn Rand and Objectivism further into the cultural mainstream. To make Objectivism a fact, we are here. We have a voice. We have an alternative. Listen up, and mainly to the people who can understand it. So if you remember, honestly, this is from my 2018 presentation when I was starting to kind of figure out what is our core strategy. It's 3 layers. It's preservation. Again, if you remember what I said, if we lost 95% of our funding and our workforce or anything, I will save 2 things: archives and the leading intellectuals. That's the core of who we are, right? That's preservation. Second thing is what we're supposed to do, which is education. So we're going to do everything in our power to grow our educational capacity. And then thirdly, attract people in, the right people, with awareness projects that is kind of reaching out to the culture with the right hooks for the right people and having them come closer to studying Objectivism. So those are the 3 things: preservation, education, and awareness. I want to start with some things that we're doing. Again, as I said, I think of you as the main stakeholders. What are we doing in all those 3 levels? So starting with awareness, our flagship program that started early 2000s is free books for teachers. A lot of you are super excited about this, and there's a reason why we're all excited about this program, because it's the best way to bring Objectivism to someone. Read Ayn Rand. Read Ayn Rand, read her novels, get ignited. If that's interesting to you, come talk to us. So I want to share with you something that our growth team, where's our growth team? Aaron, Brandon, and the rest, back there. They're waving. This is the growth team, okay? I want to share with you something they did this year that kind of blew our mind. They launched a one-click reorder program for teachers. What does that mean? It means that every teacher that ever ordered a book from us, you can move to my computer, is going to get a link. And in order to go through the whole process of ordering another book, every year, it's going to be pre-populated with everything they've already told us with their last year's order. And then they're going to see this. So we know who they are, we know where they're teaching, we already validated them, so we don't have to validate because we get a lot of spam, right? We know who they are, we know what grades they're teaching, and we know what they want to teach, right? So here's what they taught last year. And so like, oh wow, yeah, my name is Joe, and I want to teach, but by the way, this year I'm not going to teach We the Living, I'm going to change it to Anthem. I want to teach Anthem paperback. I'm going to get, I don't know, maybe another 20 copies of it, and place order. That's it. And by the way, in order to save everybody money, if they ordered, the hard copy, would you like to get a digital one? Because we can save a lot of money, like, I don't know, 60, 70 bucks just for this order. Switch to digital, done. The box is out. Okay, so let me ask you this. We launched this in the beginning of May. How many books were ordered in the first day of this campaign? A guess. 1,000. 50,000. Okay, the answer is 30,000 books. One day. Now, I told David, the producer, like, we're going to bring 30,000 books for the audience to understand what 30,000 books look like. Are you crazy? Do you know what 30,000 books look like? So just to give you an idea what 30,000 books, if you stack up the books, it's more than twice the Empire State Building. If you take 60% Anthem, 20% Fountainhead, 20% Atlas Shrugged, you stack them up, it's 2.25, I think, if we did the math right, Keith, of the Empire State Building. Now, add to that the growth team is very diligent on growing this number every year, which is the number of students asking for books from us directly, not through a teacher. And you can imagine what the quality of this audience is versus the ones who are behind the teachers. Every book here, I think, is worth much more to us than a book in Books for Teachers, and for a reason. Since we began it in 21, we've distributed over 90,000 Atlas Shrugged alone, and we are now at the pace of more than 100,000 books directly to 100,000 people a year. That's more than 300 people a day, which means all this audience ordering Ayn Rand books every day. So that's what free books for teacher is. What is our goal for 2026? 500,000 books. Where's Grant? Don't fall off your chair, Grant. We're going to try to get to 500,000 books a year. I don't know that there's any organization in the world that is distributing as many books as that. Like the best sellers today don't sell that much every year. And just to give you an idea of how much is 100, it's twice the Everest. Okay, so that's the amount of books that we're going to try and ship, and I'll report next year if we're able. Now, what does that do? What is the impact that I think is kind of really unseen of pushing so many books for over so many years into the culture? And one book was, I think it was Onkar that mentioned it, a very highly intellectual bestseller book on the left. Two liberal, progressive intellectuals talking about how the left should shift its mind to a new paradigm of abundance to reclaim the culture. And they're writing in the middle one, like, this led in part to decades of Republicans' promises that cutting taxes on the rich would encourage the nation inspired John Galt's to work smarter and harder. Think about it. Those guys, Ezra Klein and Derek Thompson, are assuming that everybody knows who John Galt is. They're not explaining it. It's like anyone who is intellectual enough to read our book, of course you've read Atlas Shrugged. Where did they get Atlas Shrugged from? From us. So I'm very proud of this. You see it everywhere. If you are, on Twitter for a day, or X now, she's all over. John Galt, their characters are good or bad. Everybody's reading, everybody's talking about it. I get a feed of Google almost on a daily basis of all the mentions. It's amazing. So I'm very proud of that, almost like under the radar impact that we're having by spreading. When I talk to other organizations about 300,000, 400,000 books a year, it's like, what? We can get 10,000 books out. How do you get to that scale? It's not us, it's Ayn Rand. If you talk to any teacher, any students, there's nothing like teaching Ayn Rand in a classroom. I mean, the classroom erupts with discussion and so on. So all credit to Ayn Rand. Now, I want to announce, and you know the drill when you see this, right? Great. We're going to announce something new and exciting that we're going to do. We're changing our paradigm in how we welcome people as ARI. Up until now, we had a very static website, Here's Ayn Rand, here's the Institute, here's, our campus, library. We're going to go further. There are 750,000 unique visitors every year that are asking, who are you? Who is Ayn Rand? And of course, they're coming for different reasons. Sometimes like, how do I submit an essay contest? And all we do is like, okay, here's the information. We're going to take it up a notch. You're going to see in this layout an AI-enabled search that has all of our information, and it's validated. It's not ChatGPT that gives you half truth and half crap, right? It's validated. And I want to show you what the experience is going to look like. So this is a demo. It's going to come out in the fall, and you're going to see a completely new way of us welcoming and inviting people to engage with us as soon as possible. So let's assume I'm Tal, 14 years ago. I just read Atlas Shrugged. My mind is blown, And the first thing you do is, who's Ayn Rand? First result in Google is Ayn Rand Institute, and I'm here. It's like, okay, wow, that's cool. Meet Ayn Rand. Here's an interview. Wow, all of it, who she is, and so on and so forth. But what I want to do is like, wow, what are they asking me here? I'm new to Ayn Rand. I've read some of her work. I've read almost everything. Yeah, I've read some. I've read Atlas, right? Now they're asking me, what did you read? Okay, this book. Why, by the way, oh, there are more books? Amazing. All of this? Okay, I'm going to just tell them that I read this one, and I'm going to continue. Now, am I a student, a professional? Yeah, I'm a professional. Now they're telling me, perfect, we've created a personalized track for you. So what does that mean? That means that we are curating tracks for every type of audience. And it's going to be something we experiment with. But you can see, the first thing ARI is telling me is like, read philosophy who needs it. And then watch the anti-industrial revolution. I was like, okay.
Ladies and gentlemen,
you remember
let
this?
us begin by translating an abstract.
Okay, you have to watch it on your own. Great talk. So ARI is going to curate those journeys for people. And another thing that I want to show you is that this thing is going to pop up and say, hey, talk to us. Tell us who you are. Tell us what you're looking for. So I'm gonna say, okay, hi, just read Atlas, and I have a lot of questions. I don't know who's that guy on the other side. I don't know if you're gonna show up. Oh, it's gonna take a few minutes. Let's wait together. Okay. Oh. Hi, I'm Aaron from ARI. We actually host regular live Zoom sessions where we address questions like this. Would you like to send me a link to join one? Oh, that's interesting. Sure. Okay. Well, they were inviting me for a Zoom link where I can ask questions. That's cool. Now they're typing back. Oh, here's a link. Amazing. Gonna click it, and boom. I can get with Aaron. Where's Aaron Smith? Where's Aaron Smith? He's right there answering. This is live, by the way. That's him answering, right? Let me prove it. Oh, can I go back? I can write, hi, Aaron. But that's what we're going to do. We're going to experiment with the idea. You can go back to the presentation, where we are trying to engage with people much earlier in their journey. Because up until now, think about how we all survived what we call internally the deep forest. It's like, Atlas, the fountainhead. What should I read next? Oh, I met this guy. He said to read the Capitalism. I'm going to read Capitalism. Oh, wow, there's a thing on epistemology. I mean, everybody took a path, right? We want to help with a path to make it less, remove all friction. And I believe that, I don't know about you, but the first time I met someone that carried the ideas of objectivism, it became much more real for me. So introducing people like Aaron Smith as early as possible to say, okay, what is your question? And I don't know, I believe in God. Is that compatible with what Ayn Rand is saying? It's like, no, not really. So what should I read next? And so on. So think how powerful it would be to engage with a big part of those 750,000 people every year for the sake of trying to, because some of them honestly come around us, circle twice, and then we never see them again. Because we never were able to show them something that really captures their attention. Okay, let's move on to education. Another announcement. Okay, so remember that we announced we're going for accreditation. I'm happy to say that we are going for a Master of Arts in Objectivist Studies. It's going to be a master's degree. And we are ahead of schedule. And before we open the Ayn Rand Center in 2028, this is going to be something that everyone can take. This, for me, is really staking the ground, like we're here, we're serious, we have an accredited university. Who knows what we're going to do next? Maybe a PhD, maybe a BA, maybe, I don't know, something else. But we're going to be an accredited university. And people from all over the country could study with us and transfer credits, and we can give student visas for everybody around the world to come study with us. And we're going to have a physical campus. So imagine what a kind of a milestone this is. And I think, honestly, I underestimated the power of having a place with so much, credibility. People are responding to it. So because we cannot call ourselves university right now, because now we're under the scrutiny of bureaucrats, you will see that we call ARU, for the time being, ARI Life. So when you see that logo, that means that you can continue to study with us, right? And we've made everything much simpler. Remember, we had a 2-year program. Now you can take any course you want. It's a quarterly course, same price for anything. You don't have to tell us if you want to be an auditor or a graded student. You just show up. If you submit your homework, we'll grade it. If you don't, good luck. But I would honestly urge each and every one in the room who read OPAR and read objectivist epistemology to say, I understand objectivism. Challenge you to study with us and challenge yourself. If you just started reading, those are the courses we're going to offer, but I'll go just to give you a couple of ideas. If you just started reading and you're really excited about this, come study Objectivism through Ayn Rand's fiction with us and rediscover those novels through a completely different perspective of a lens of what are the philosophical ideas that are presented here, and how is she kind of embedding all of those ideas into those novels. So any one of us should take that course. If you're well-read and you want to have like a complete survey of objectivism using OPAR as the textbook for this, do that with our leading intellectuals. If you want to learn how to apply it in your career, then Dawn and I are giving a course which I find very exciting with a lot of guests of how do we implement all of those principles in our career, in our development. And if you want something specific, you can learn with Tara the moral virtues. You can learn with Dawn and Yaron the morality of capitalism. So we're going to offer a lot of very specific, or the new right with Nikos. We're going to offer on top of the basic courses of objectivism, introduction to objectivism, a lot of courses that are going to change from quarter to quarter. All you have to do, think about it like an online academy. We're actually thinking next year maybe moving to like a subscription model, but for now it's going to be something you just decide to buy. So reach out to the bag that is right beneath you and pull out the course catalog. And take a look at that course catalog. It has all the courses we're going to offer in the next couple of quarters. And I'm happy to announce that with the help of dedicated donors, we're going to reduce the price dramatically. Every course is going to cost $4.99. If you buy it now, when you exit, during OCON, it's going to be even $3.99. A whole quarter of studying with us live. It's live courses with live teachers. So this is ARI Live. And I'm going to give you more updates as the year progresses about the accreditation process. Okay, another announcement. This one I'm really excited about. So we announced a graduate center for the people who really want to take it to the next level and make this their career, right? The way I think about our funnel is that it is more readers of Ayn Rand, more students of objectivism, and then at the bottom level, objectivist intellectuals. Those people will carry this for the future. So we are reimagining and deepening our commitment to intellectual development by announcing a new organization that Ilan Giorno is leading called the Intellectual Incubator. And the Intellectual Incubator, thank you, is a complete dedication to the development of what we call an objectivist intellectual influencer. And I want to break it down to 3 of those things. What does it mean to be objectivist? You're going to learn with the best minds in objectivism. You're going to study with us and get the advanced and rigorous training in objectivist methodology and objectivist philosophy. We're going to make you as intellectual as we possibly can. Think Harvard Law School, the most selective and demanding, right? And think about the influencer. I don't know if you know, everybody knows Y Combinator, the kind of incubator of startups in the Silicon Valley. There's this famous. We're going to make it very purposeful and very entrepreneurial. We're going to take all of those 3 dimensions and we're injecting that into a program that can take anywhere from a year or 2 to a decade of development, depending who you are, what you want to be, who you want to be. Are you a general philosopher? Are you an applied philosopher? Are you specializing in something? We're going to teach you objectivism, so you can think well. We're going to teach you how to read, how to understand, how to research, and then how to write very frequently, because that's what you need to be an influencer. And then how to build your own brand, how to get an audience, how to get a following, learn from the best minds. And so I'm very excited. What are they going to do? I don't know. Did anyone hear about the Confusion Papers? It's like this legendary thing in objectivist intellectual development. I actually wanted to show Tara's from way back. What Leonard used to do is to say, what don't you understand in objectivism, okay? And now you take that subject and you write about it. Write everything you know about it and everything that confuses you about it. And then the feedback that you're going to get is amazing because it's going to be a feedback about the way you think about things, not what you think about things. So it's enormously valuable to someone who's developing their ability to think. And that's why they call it the confusion papers. I heard some recordings. It's hilarious. It's amazing how kind of Leonard is able to kind of break down the methodology that allowed you to get to that confusion. So, and they're going to get from, you know, the best practitioners using objectivism as a framework to understand the world and world events. So we're going to do analyzing current events. There's going to be an advanced writing lab that allows all of our intellectuals to produce on a schedule and really in high volume and build their own brand. I talked to Harry about it over the phone, and he said something. I said, Harry, can I quote you on this? He said, yeah, sure, do this. So this is what he's told me. He said, understanding that Ayn Rand is right in the abstract major applications or like being just or supporting capitalism is not that hard. Not trivial, but not hard. Becoming a teacher and explainer of objectivism is damn hard. What ARI is doing in the realm of intellectual development is so hard, some would deem it almost impossible. And I have to say, yeah, I'm watching those people work every day. It's really hard. And I want to send a message from here to any young person who finds this exciting and wants to take it on as a career. Come study with us. We'll invest in you for as long as we need to make you the best you can and give you the best platform to become an objectivist intellectual influencer. So that is about the incubator. Third level, the preservation. I want to tell you a couple of things that we're doing in the archives that I think are a huge milestone. First thing, we're transcribing Ayn Rand papers, all of them. We have transcribed over 3,000 pages of handwritten notes into the computer, so it's searchable and publishable. So our 5-year plan is to get all of Ayn Rand's writing, all of her development of thousands and thousands of pages online. Like we did for The Fountainhead, we're going to do for all of the other novels, the development of the novels and the development of objectivism as a philosophy. And anyone, any researcher in the world that would like to research Ayn Rand will have a tool to research her work. And inside of the archives, the tens of thousands of artifacts that we have, we had those manual finding aids that we used. Now it's all in a searchable, comprehensive database. So if you ever, as a researcher or anyone wants to find something in our archives, which is getting bigger by the day, can find it in this amazing database that we're implementing. So, and the last thing I would say about the archives is that part of the Ayn Rand Center that we're going to launch, and I'm going to talk about it in a second, we're going to build a purpose-built space with archival storage, with high-density compact shelving, with climate control, air filtration, and a flexible workplace for the researchers who want to come in. And that means for me that Ayn Rand's legacy will be protected forever. That's, for me, the most important thing. So that's going to be part of the center. And one more word about the archive teams. What you're going to see in the next couple of years is unbelievable. We are now negotiating 63 radio shows she's on, answering questions that we just found out in a place called WBAI Radio in New York. We're negotiating. By the way, you see here Ford Forum Q&As that we never had before in a better sound quality. You know where they were found? Across the street in the Boston Public Library. It's amazing. Yeah, so kudos to Audra and Brandon and the archives team for doing all of this. It's amazing. I want to go back to the theme of the intellectual and the businessman. And I want to tell you the story of what happened when we sat down for strategic kind of thinking and said, what would happen if we did it? If we facilitated the coming together of the leading businessmen, kind of the atlases of the business world and the best thinkers, and put them in one room for maybe half a day, see what happens? So we ran that experiment, and that experiment was highly successful. There was so much energy in the room. I want to read you another part that Leonard specifically wrote as the goal of the Institute, and he wrote it as proper activities include, and of course the first one was colleges and universities that we need to engage, but the second one he wrote introducing objectivism to the business community by such means as disseminating literature and publications aimed at businessmen, holding seminars, sponsoring lectures, etc. What I'm announcing is that we're going to move. Yes, thank you. It's going to make it more dramatic. A new initiative called the Atlas Circle. And the Atlas Circle is going to be something very unique. We're going to start offering those intellectual retreats over weekends to leading businessmen, and it's going to be by invitation only, so it's like a very close community of people who know people and say, oh, I've done that, you should do it. We've talked to a person that is an objectivist in another organization that does something like that, and we're learning a lot about how to do it. And hopefully before the end of the year, we'll run the first event where we get leading intellectuals and leading businessmen in a room together. It's, I think we're going to have like a maximum of 16 people. They're going to get a lot of pre-reads, and it's going to be a whole weekend of intellectualism. And I think what that will do to both audiences will be unbelievable. So it's one of those swings. We'll see if it works. Hopefully it does. The first experiment yielded a lot of money for us, which was really good. And we'll see how that goes. So I'm really excited. If you reach into your bags again, take out a book. It's the first book we're publishing under that banner, Profit Without Apology. I love what Onkar Ghate wrote as an introduction. He said, this book is a call to arms for an embattled group of heroes widely seen as villains, productive businessmen. So I urge you to read it. It's the first thing we're putting out, and we're directing a lot of our intellectual output towards getting business to stand up for business. If you heard Onkar's lecture a while back about what is needed is for the oppressed minority to stand up for itself, this is how we're going to do it. We need a businessman to stop yielding to all of the bureaucratic restrictions and the vilification that is happening. So, and I want to use this opportunity thinking about the intellectual and the businessman to thank someone very, very special who was both for me a personal mentor. John Allison stepped down of the Ayn Rand Institute board. If John is listening now live, I want to send you first thank you for everything you've done for the Institute for decades and being my mentor and wishing you a lot of health and many years of happiness in your retirement. So thank you, John Allison. Amazing person. You're a real manifestation of the new intellectual. Last one. Last year, we announced this amazing project. I can't even start to describe to you how big it is. I'm learning a ton of what it means to erect something like this. And now we've made enough progress, and we've raised enough money. We still are short several million, so if anyone wants to help us, please. I'm still trying to get to the end goal here. But if you reach out and get an envelope up from your bag, I want to announce, you know what, let me ask you this. If we had a party to open this place, you want to be there? Yeah. So I want to announce an opening invitation. Play it. Take your iPhones out, take the calendar, go to 2028. And I remember I gave an update to the advisory committee, and Jerry Egan, who's now on the ARI board, was there. And I said, sometime in 2028, who knows when? And she said, of course, you know when, right? And I said, no. And I said, what do you mean? September 2nd. So September 2nd, 2028, we're going to cut the ribbon. Barring, any kind of issues, crazy zoning and stuff that is not up to us, we will try our best to meet that deadline. And I can't tell you what I think it'll mean for our movement to have this beautiful place. Another thing I want to say is, due to a special donation that we got, we bought the adjacent lot, and so now we're going to have a garden. So it's going to be a beautiful, if you didn't hear the announcement, it's shaped like a book, shining light into the culture, hovering over the earth, reaching out to the sky. inspired by a lot of, the starter temple from the fountainhead. We have the most amazing architect that we're working with. This is what the lobby would look like. This is corten steel leading as a ramp that goes up into the building and crosses it all the way to the garden. It's going to be beautiful. This is the library we're going to have. It's going to be a place where we get together to have debates and lectures and who knows, maybe even art. This is the view from the top where we're going to have the headquarters and the archives, but also classrooms. You can see the beautiful classroom. You can see the glass windows that are going to be kind of bringing the light in. And I want to invite you, if you want to be part of the founder's circle of this, monumental achievement, please talk to us. We're going to be very, very flexible. You have to reach a specific level of giving. Talk to the fundraising team, Matthew and the team, and Don. If you want to be on that wall for perpetuity, you want to make that effort, please talk to us because this is going to be the founder's circle of the Ayn Rand Center. One of you, anyone can reach out and see if they have this ticket inside. We're giving you a free, if you see it, let me know. You get a free OCON next year. So I don't know who's the lucky winner. Anyone? No? Oh, it's one, so it's going to be hard to find. Just shout out, I got it. Did we give it to someone? Anyone got it? Okay, if you find it, let me know. Only one? And by the way, if you want to buy, OCON for next year, it's 50% off. You should do it, by the way. You can cancel anytime, so just lock it at 50% and you can cancel anytime you want. We're going to offer it there. Oh, there you go. So, Harry, we're going to see it in New Orleans. And with that, I want to thank you. Thank you very much. Sorry. I keep forgetting. One more thing. So when we kind of thought about and envisioned what we're going to build, of course, we had the headquarters, the campus, the library, kind of an intellectual hub that we want to build. And we also had an idea of building a museum, right? The Ayn Rand Museum, of course. But then when we started thinking about, like, what would that look like? What does that mean to build an Ayn Rand museum? It's a museum for ideas. How do you build a museum for ideas? Who's going to come in and see maybe her passport and how she moved to the United States and publishing? It's going to be nice. What could be even better? So, ladies and gentlemen, I'm so excited to announce that we're going to build the Ayn Rand immersive experience. Now, I'm going to tease you. I'm going to show you one-third of the first experience out of 5 or 6 experiences that we're in the process of building. We're working with Hollywood screenwriters, producers, experience builders, like people who are like Disney, experience builders. And the more we work with them, it's just phenomenal what those guys can do, powered by, great stories. So imagine that there is a room. Well, let me start by saying, imagine that you take your son, daughter, grandson, granddaughter, who didn't read any Ayn Rand yet, and you have. And the question is, who is that experience for? So that experience is going to be designed for them, not for you. You're going to enjoy it immensely, but it's for them. So imagine you coming in, and we greet you, and you go into the experience, and the first thing you see is this dark room with a lot of we all over the walls. And there's like this narrow phone booth that leads you in. So you open the phone booth, and you close the door behind you, and you're in this claustrophobic phone booth. And we scan you. And there's a mirror in front of you that now you see yourself in it. And you typed your name as you walked in, so we know your name. And the screen starts to blur, and before you know it, your name is erased, and you get a new name. and you get new clothes. Then the door opens, and you're surrounded by shadows that span to, to a long, long hall, and you're standing in front of the World Council or the Council of Vocations, and they're going to read your name, and they're going to say you're going to be a ditch digger for the rest of your life. And then your image is projected, and you see you age being a ditch digger for the rest of your life. How awful. And then someone with a light shows up from the back of the room. And if you want to know what happens next, come to the gala. So, thank you, everyone. Thanks for being a wonderful audience. And we're going for big swings. Thank you very much. I would like to play a short clip that ends with my favorite quote, just for all of our inspiration.
Morality means thinking, reasoning, exercising, and living by one's mind.
Allow individuals to flourish as individuals.
The rights of life, liberty, property, and the pursuit of happiness are the means, the only means of safeguarding the individual in society.
It is ours. Thank you.